intersection. Yeah, my grandfather probably drove that train. Nice picture of the river. This is a nice spot. The park. Anyway, I got 3 minutes on TV tonight, and I've been emailing myself, and just gotta quickly pick it up. But that's why I always say that's why I don't like to work by the hour, because I get so much done in 15 minutes. Okay, the problem with the party is that it's run by an executive board, just like a business meeting, and then the people that are in the party have no choice but to toe the line. I just emailed my buddy, told I only owe $1,000 to my childhood friend, and otherwise my balance sheet is at zero. And like I said to my buddy one time, who's better off, the guy at zero or the guy at minus 30,000? I live in a bus in the bush out near Sundre there. If I was a government, I'm running pretty smooth. I'm running on instinct and experience. The heritage of my cause is the wild horses, but the wild horses is what I'm going to concentrate on tonight on the 3 minutes, because we have a lot in common with wild horses, or at least I do. Anyway, there used to be a heritage trust fund, which I think has been spent, but it used to be pretty high. We used to have extra money instead of a deficit, and we can make it an event. We can have our own party at the Cecil and the Shamrock, or not the Shamrock, that's in Calgary, but the Royal. We can have a party one day with both bars, with 2 bands, and you might enjoy yourself. Also, electing, like if you don't vote, maybe you could make it a party, like, you know, get yourself a Mickey and get half pissed and go to the polling station. I've knocked on more doors than all the campaign, all the people combined, and because I used to sell firewood by the wheelbarrow loads into apartments and condominiums. I've been in the firewood business for 25 years. And I've been in business since I was a kid, knocking on doors. But I'm not knocking on doors in the election, because I don't want to bother people or get in trouble. I see people as equals. Doesn't matter if you're a lawyer or a doctor. We're all the same, or should be. I sold trees Alberta wide, so I know the country. I got 45 seconds left. Anyways, I guess I'm going to have to make it short and sweet. In business, all my life, paper routes, little or no. Yeah, when I was out in the bush working, there was little or no authority. Like the forest rangers were your friends, but me and the one forest ranger was like the coyote and the roadrunner. Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Frank. And we chased each other around the bush all day. Anyways, people that are in politics are good people. They want to make a difference in the world, but unfortunately they're controlled by the lobbyists, and they can't. I'd like to make a motion that we have a ballot. I'd like to make a motion that we have a hidden ballot, so that when we vote in the legislature, that even if you're with a political party, you can still make your opinion, express your opinions. Personality, well, I guess I got one. Everybody's got a personality, but that was in relation to the wild horses. I love seeing the wild horses out in the bush there. Sometimes they run in groups of 2 or 3 stud horses, and sometimes there's families of horses, and then there's single guy, lone horses out there running up the line. It's great, but I go looking for wild horses, and there's enough grass out there to feed them. And I guess the ones that were in Suffield, now the deer are starving out, because the horses used to dig with their hoofs for food, so that the wild horses of Sundre are probably helping the deer to get their feed. And the PCs destroyed all the research about the ocean. That's how much they give a shit about the ecology. And yeah, one old man said, you're going to get criticized for anything you do. Go ahead, try something, find out. So I'm going to be criticized, but that's okay. I understand. That's the way it goes. That's par for the course. Family is very important, and that was in regards to, like, I had mine busted up by the RCMP for spanking my kids, and about 10 years ago, and they ripped apart my family just like as if they lassoed the wild stallion and took him away, and I couldn't talk to my kids, and eventually I got divorced, which is something that you shouldn't do because you miss out on your children. And I bought into the bullshit about getting divorced, and it was all over corporal punishment. But I was thinking today, if they were, because when I went to school, my wife used to get the belt, but when she went to school, but she's younger than me. But where I came from, they didn't give us the belt. But I was maybe I always spent most of my time at the office. But maybe if they would have given me the belt, maybe I would have smartened up. My grandfather used to give me the belt every weekend, but I love my grandfather. Anyway, first thing I could do. Oh yeah, I could. It says for first thing, think I could do an awesome job, perfect fit. And why I'm running Medicine Hats, because there's only one seat here. I'm in the race. I was at a meeting today with all the candidates. Well, I'm a leading contender. If you ask me, I'm a long shot. I pay out, and I'm willing to. Not just about Gas City or Alberta. It's about Canada as a country, like healthcare, and they're taxing the living bejesus out of us. That's what was next on my phone with 3 exclamation marks. See, I got my notes on my phone like the NDP guy, Mulcahy, but I actually like him. But the first time I came to Medicine Hat was for railway ties 25 years ago. My mom grew up in Medicine Hat. My grandfather ran the trains out of Medicine Hat. So this is hometown country here. I've lived in Medicine Hat 3 or 4 times for short durations. Oh yeah, here the scholars, the people that stay at the Salvation Army are actually scholars. And I'm willing to give 20% of my paycheck right directly to the homeless people, cash. And if I can't make arrangements to give it to the people in Medicine Hat, I'll just give it to people that I find on the street that need a hand up, or some of my buddies could use a few bucks, I'm sure. But even if I give 20% of my wages away, I'll still have money to burn for my friends. Anyway, law enforcement. I just waved at a street cop. Like, it's Medicine Hat. There's a guy, his name is Adam. He's a nice street cop. He snuck up on me in my truck one day, but I told him a few stories about myself, but I actually waved and said hi to him. And in a way, it's kind of nice to have the police around, but you can't be Robin Hood without the sheriff. Oh yeah, and I get $79,000 per year for research and communication. That's why you get a bunch of bullshit in the mail all the time, because each candidate has $79,000. But I'm going to use mine to advertise Medicine Hat in small town newspapers, and push we've got the rail here, we've got the highway here, we got a pallet factory here, we got people that are ready to work here, we got it says here I'm going to put competent people in my office, and I'm going to make $126,000 a year. Nobody would tell me how much I made, but I had to find out. There's a guy up in Sundre that's running as an independent, but if we both won, we could second each other's motions, and then they're supposed to discuss it, so we could actually get some of this stuff on the table. Yeah, not knocking on doors. And it says wild horses again. Criminal record, prosecuted for being a father. Yeah, they're turning the family into a criminal because there's no crime, so the police got to make a name for themselves, so they're turning the family into a criminal. I'm a small business expert. I've been in business all my life. There's about 11 elements. I wrote the book on small business, literally, but I wrote a paper. I called it the Nth Degree on Business, but there's knowledge, money, communication, product, service, advertising, delivery, collection, location, customer base, tips, and legalities. And then there's like persistence is the chalk. It worked out to a pool table. But there's more to it, but I might be able to dig that up and get it on the net. Because I spent a couple of years trying to make an internet website idea. And I'm hoping for a minority government, which means that the progressive conservatives or whoever's in, doesn't matter who, won't have the majority, so that they can't push through all these bullshit deals like that C-51 that's coming up, which makes it's just another way to control the population. And the government is actually run by an executive board, so there's like 20 people out of the government that run the government. And there's a smoking gun. It's called the Alberta Gazette, It's a newspaper with all the. If you should check it out, the Alberta Gazette, because it's I call it the paper of corruption and good deals. You can get cheap houses and all kinds of bullshit goes on in that paper. That's where we sold those airplanes. I'm the unofficial opposition. Anyway, I read there's a true patriot is someone who will stand up against the government, but I don't know who said it. But and CBC radio is where I get most of my information. But that'll be the next thing that they cut's the radio. And I can do a good job. I can do the best job. And mental health, I'm up to my eyeballs in shit with mental health. I got to take a needle once a month because they got me on a community treatment order because the last election I was at an AA meeting and I was trying to get to the podium and this guy that works as a jail guard grabbed me and twisted my wrist and put me down on the ground, and then they kneeled on me, put their knee on my back, and they called the police, but I thought I was going to die. I don't think I could take another beating like that. Anyways, and then they put me in the psych ward. So, but I was running against Prentice in the last election, and I was all I got was locked up. I ran to be the mayor of a small town one time, and all I got was arrested. So, anyways, but I'm like the wild horses. They're trying to give them a needle so that they don't reproduce. But that's what they're doing to me. I feel like a wild horse. Why don't they just leave me the fuck alone? Anyway, and sometimes a swear word is like a good adjective. Door-to-door mail, we want that in Canada. It's a good job for people. Plus, this is a good job for me because it gives me purpose. I want to buy my kid a guitar, an amp, a set of drums, a fiddle, so that he can rock and roll. And it says fracking. I don't agree with fracking, but I don't want to, a lot of provinces don't let people frack, and up in where I come from, they're fracking the bejesus out of it out there. And the war, I don't want a war. Canada used to be a peacekeeping country when I grew up. And it was a comforting thing to to be known as a peacekeeper, because then it says Bill C-51, that's just like more of the war, looking forward to getting home. Yeah, Medicine Hat's a nice place to visit, but I don't want to live here. But I could come down and I can stay in the hotels. They're pretty cheap down here, and I could make events, I guess, if I have to, and serve my constituents. And I might possibly have to be here for a certain amount of time a year. I don't know for sure. And universal health care is every Canadian's God-given right. When I grew up, my great-grandmother was in the States, and their health care cost them $900 a month or something. And we always had good health care, and we can't privatize the health care system. I'm not doing it for the fame. Don't get divorced, you miss out on your kids. Landline to my cell. Yeah, I can still, even though I'm not going to be living in Medicine Hat, I can still run it. Just like a big corporation, I can run like TELUS out of China. But anyway, you can give me a call and I'll have it directly forwarded to my landline, and I can fight fires from Sundry. Ex-wife, I want to give her a lot of child support because I never paid my child support. When I got divorced, we were so poor that I didn't have to pay child support. So I'd love to give her the best I ever feel is when I send money to my ex-wife. And actually, today is my anniversary of when I got married. So it's kind of a tough day, but I've been doing pretty good. I'm glad I'm in the election. I feel a lot better when I'm busy. And it's something that I had to do. And there's no major issues that aren't unique to Medicine Hat. Like, I guess we might need some schools in Medicine Hat, but all the issues are the same in Sundre, Alberta as they are in Calgary, Alberta as they are in Ottawa or Regina. But not necessarily, because I don't know if our education system is run by the Alberta government. So I'm pretty sure that this new high-tech education that they're giving the kids isn't as good as the old-fashioned reading, writing, and arithmetic. My grandfather was an engineer. Old man said, okay. Yeah, okay. Apprentice team put together to push. Yeah, the apprentice team is put together to push the Fort McMurray pipeline through. It says wild horses again. And cheap gas. Like, we were doing good when the price of gas was 72 cents. The price of oil is probably only worth $50 a barrel, but we should be buying cheap gas. If someone's making a killing on this cheap gas. Plus, the government did their estimate on $40 a barrel, so they're they're basically bullshitting us, and they're going to shut down. They're just going to screw us like they always do. And it says power. When people have power, for some reason they abuse it. I'm not asking for any campaign contributions, running my own campaign. Corporate tax, I want to tax the bejesus out of the corporations, but only if they're making like $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 a year, so I don't hurt the small business guy. And it's always best to run as a sole proprietor, in my opinion. It's not just the government, but it's the government systems that we have to eliminate. Like all the systems, like if you change the government, it's what I say. It's like an extension cord that's all twisted up and tangled. We got to untie that son of a bitch and straighten it out. And people that don't vote, you got to get out there.